anyways, I'm going to talk about a few different things here. I think that, number one, the marijuana shirt here kind of loosens everybody up a little bit. So that's one thing. Everybody here probably doesn't understand the minute difference between marijuana and hemp. There's actually a gigantic difference. So what I'm talking about here tonight is a drug people smoke should be legalized, should be more than just decriminalized, should be taken off the books, and it should be put into a treatment-based program. Anyways, now for my speech. Vote for Mr. McKenzie is a vote for intolerance, discrimination, reduced health care, ballooning deficits, and a vote for Stephen Harper. We are not electing David McKenzie, but a mouthpiece for Stephen Harper. To be represented here, you must elect somebody that has the ability to stand up for those in Ottawa who do not have our local interest in mind. A vote for Mr. McKenzie is a vote for Steve. Dave's slogan should really be a vote for me, I'm somebody else. January 12th at the C&W Hall in Woodstock, myself and hundreds of starving farmers heard Mr. McKenzie state that he could not support their risk management program without knowing his party policy on this subject. Once more during that debate, he reiterated that comment. He had to toe his party line but didn't even know what it was. The next morning in the local news it was reported that all local parties, excluding the Libertarians, agreed to support the idea and concept. And that was a lie reported by the media to support his campaign. Stephen Harper's June 1997 speech in Montreal to the Council for National Policy, Harper stated that Canada is a welfare state in the very worst sense of the term and very proud of it. He then turned to attack the jobless and the homeless, who he says the audience should not feel bad for since they do not feel bad about it themselves as well as are receiving generous social assistance and unemployment insurance. Wow, contempt for the people that would pay your wages. The Conservatives last time in power left Canada's middle class in a shambles, and most Canadians never recovered from it. Most Canadians have never recovered from free trade and privatization. That is the conservative American way. Most Canadians will feel the impact of the Reform Alliance conservative management practices and ballooning deficits and unemployment. A vote for Dave is a vote for Stephen Harper in all reality. Steve is a passionate conservative, and so is George W. Bush. Now he's Hitler and Mussolini all rolled into one. I used to believe that voters that elected people like that into power were silly whenever they elected them into power. But now I've come to the conclusion that the propaganda spread out by the ruling elite and their pirate media system is so strong that people just follow along. You can't blame people for their ignorance when it's hard to see the road in front. It's dark, your lights are broken, your windshield's foggy, and David still tell you that it's a safe night for a drive. If I were elected, I would first take all of our farmers to Ottawa to pry open the treasury doors. The second thing I do is invite all of the candidates in this room to sit down after consulting with their peers, and we build a consensus and a comprehensive plan, including everybody. Vote everybody in the room, show that. It's a gigantic crowd, and I think that we've all got a lot of really, really good ideas. It's too bad that we can't put our heads together, just like Kay said. Chances are that will never happen. I think that long after we all leave here, there'll still be big divisions in the political system here. I think that every guy in his own right has a perfect image of what they'd like to see here. I think that me, hey, yeah, legalize marijuana, sure, that's a great thing. For Dave, a stronger military. For Zoe, a strong socialism. For John, Christianity and Bible foundation for our laws. And for Greg over there, you know, he's a very strong business guy, intelligent. And Kate, she's been around forever. She deserves to go to Ottawa just for being here. Bonnie over there, you know, the environment. These are all gigantic issues that we're all facing today, and I think it would be terrible of all of us to walk into there and turn our backs on any of these issues. And anyways, I'd just like to thank you for being here. Thank you. I guess the main thing here for me, I'm going to tell you that under the Elections Act, anything these guys tell you, any promise they make, any pledge in writing, simple pledges, they can fabricate, they can lie, and there's an element in the Elections Act that allows them not to have to sustain any of these silly ass promises or anything like that. So basically, whatever you hear coming out of their mouths, you want to take it with a big grain of salt, because I think the chances are you probably listened to a big room full of lies tonight, guys. As I've said in some of the other meetings, one of the big things for my party, I think that switch is not on. I have a loud mouth anyways. So. Anyways, I guess the big thing for my party, legalization of marijuana would bring in billions and billions of dollars in tax revenues. I think that those tax revenues could be put into the coffers, could be directed towards education. My idea is that I believe Canada should have a universal post-secondary education and universal medical school and technical schools that are sponsored and financed by the state. And I think that legalized marijuana could easily finance all of those things. And I think that we see lots of American people coming up here to spend their dollars on it too. So we'd have even more money, more than what even Fraser Institute could even possibly think about. So, and Dave McKenzie knows exactly how much pot is worth on the streets and how much. Of course, a party like mine is going to support proportional representation. But one added thing, a little bit of John's, a little bit of Dave's there, is that. Like John mentioned, that if you reach a 5% threshold in your riding, you're paid $1.74, and 2% nationally, it's $1.74. But in the province of Quebec, there is no threshold to have to achieve, and I think that that's kind of discriminatory. Number one, when it comes down to it, there should be no difference between Ontario and Quebec. And secondary to that is that the financing of, like John mentioned, the financing of the big political parties like the NDP, the PCs, and the Liberals. You know, with your very own dollars, those guys running around, all those buttons, all those signs that they got up everywhere, man, you have all paid for those. You should ask for the back when you're done. Dave right there to arrest him and drag him out. I think that's a huge question. I think first off, that like I said, the Elections Act is it has this ability. It leaves all of these candidates up here with the ability to sit up here and lie. I can promise you all a huge bag of weed tonight, a bag of Doritos if I like. And there's nothing you can do about it because I don't keep any of those promises. But that's the biggest problem. But I don't think an amendment to the criminal code is going to change that. I think what needs to change, if you're looking to change voter apathy, guys like me made people come out and vote last year. 750 or 800 people voted for us and probably normally wouldn't have voted. And I think that says something about small parties and different ideas, right? And I think that kind of helps to coax people out. But I think adding an amendment to the criminal code to criminally charge somebody for not keeping promises is pretty tough. I think that the Elections Act should be changed, and the minute they don't keep the promises, you should be able to toss them. There should be a right of recall for every individual in the country. You should be able to get rid of the guys that get in there and don't do their job. You should be able to ditch them and boot them in the arse and get them out the door, right? Policy on that, but as far as an individual goes, I definitely support the concept of universal education, universal health care, and that I believe poverty, like the Liberals, they did promise to end poverty in Canada. It hasn't even ended here. Like, people are starving here, and I think people are starving around the world, and I don't think that's going to come to end anytime soon unless we really give ourselves a kick in the arses and help the people around the world, right? It's more of it's nothing to do with government. It's more to do with how we as individuals feel about people around us and the world around us. And if we care enough about the world around us, then we should be in a position, no matter what it takes, to want to get out there and help them. We should twist our own arms to do it, right? I think when it comes down to it. But yeah, I think that anybody that goes up there, I think that even for the last 2 years that Dave McKenzie has been sitting in Ottawa, I think that I'm sure that he feels personally in tune with what's going on. No doubt about that. And I think for anybody to go there and not feel personally in touch with what's going on in the House or in his constituency, I think that that's not a right thing. I think that for any of us to even be up here, that we would have to want to be personally involved in a process of election and electoral reform and policy decisions.